Wanna know how I made this Gothic fashion doll? Just keep watching! For this DIY, you will need these items and some that I forgot. Step 1, after making sure the doll's old clothes are removed, is to color her hair with Sharpie. I chose black, but you can use any color. Just be sure it's permanent marker. I'm sure there's a more proper way to do this, but this is just the way I decided to do it for me. And I already had Sharpies, so it just seemed like the right thing to use. So just be careful when you're going around her hairline. You can also use tape to tape off around her face and neck if you're worried about getting it on there. I probably should have done this because I did definitely get it all over her face and neck. So just make sure you go back and forth from tips to the top and just keep working your way around. Your hands are going to get messy, so you're just going to want to wear gloves if you're worried about getting the Sharpie on your hands. I also colored the bald spot on the top of her head, and that was just because I was doing an updo and I didn't want there to be any patches showing that weren't black. So just make sure you color everything. Step 2, you should make sure that you have a thread and needle ready because next is the updo. And I just kind of twirled it into a bun and then use the thread to just tie it like I would with a normal hair tie. You could also use one of those plastic hair ties if you want to, but I just did this thread to make it more permanent. And actually, one of the things to make it super permanent is to try and sew it through her head, which you can see here. I'm trying to have some trouble with it, but I'm trying really hard. And finally I got it through, so you just push it through her head and that'll make it stay better. And then, you know, just cut it off. And after that, her hair was a little messy, so I just went ahead and gave her a little haircut just to make it look like a more neat fan. But yeah, you can totally skip this entire step if you just buy a doll that doesn't have a bald spot and has her hair down already. The main thing I was trying to do was cover that bald spot and put her hair back up. After giving her the haircut, I kind of tapped to get the little pieces out, and then this is step 3, which is just to clean up her face. You could totally skip this step if you actually use the tape to cover her face and neck like I should have done. But yeah, I'm just using rubbing alcohol, or you could use acetone and just put on a Q-tip and try and clean up the Sharpie or whatever you use to color her hair. But if you use acetone, be careful because you can take the paint of her face off. So moving on to step 4, this is just to put some goth makeup on her. And as you can see, I'm just using the same Sharpies that I used for her hair, one smaller. And I'm just like tracing over her eyebrows, and then I'm going to go ahead and trace over her makeup just to make it a little darker and give it a little more goth look. And this way her eyebrows match her new hair color. So you could really use whatever Sharpie for her eyebrows that matches her hair color. And next I'm going to use that big Sharpie that I used on her hair just to kind of go over that blue makeup. And I'm going to leave the pink exposed because she has a pink dress and I'm sure my daughter will still use that. So I'm just going to leave the pink on and just cover that blue with the Sharpie. And then as I take it around, I'm also bringing it back under the corner just to kind of blend it around with her regular makeup and just do the makeup the way you would do your actual makeup. And just following the crease and then dragging it under. And then I decided I wanted to do it a little more fanned out, so I went back in and just did more of a cat eye little fan look thing. And then decided to put a little accent underneath. Lastly, I'm just going to give her some black lipstick. You gotta be really careful when you're doing this because you will get it on her teeth if you're not careful. I probably should have only used the small Sharpie, but I decided I just wanted to pack the color on, and it definitely got on her teeth. So just be careful when you're doing this part and go as slow as possible to be neat. So there's her final makeup, and we're going to move on to step 5, which is the final step, and that's clothes. So I'm using black socks here to kind of make her dress, and I'm just trying to decide how short I want it. Do I really want it to be a dress? And I decided on a dress, and I'm just cutting a piece off to do the top. And then I kind of put it back on her and did sleeves by cutting slits in the side so it was kind of off the shoulder. And then I turned it inside out and put it back on her and pinned it so it would be form-fitting. And then I'm just going to sew it on around her so it'll be form-fitting, and then I'll add the bottom on. So after I sewed each side, I just cut the excess off. Onto the bottom of the dress, and I used the flat bottom of the sock to make a rectangular piece of fabric, and then I pinned it around the bottom of the torso piece and down the side to kind of make a cylinder, sort of a mod style shape, and then I sewed it together and trimmed the excess off the side. You and I pushing stones up either side of this current of moments beneath us. After dressing her, I decided to add some flair with a kind of holy poncho. So I just took the toe of a sock, snipped off the tip for a head hole, and then made more holes, of course. You could add as many as you like, but I kind of just stopped at some point. I really wanted it to look like fishnet, but it was just taking forever to cut so many holes, and of course you can see Lily in the background kind of playing with all of the scraps, so I just kind of gave up and accepted the way it looked. I might add more holes later, but it looks fine for now. Now all that's left is the boots, so I just kind of used the top half of the sock to just pick some fabric to make little boots out of, and I kind of held it up next to her leg just to see where I should pin it and how much I needed, and I cut that piece in half, and then just started by pinning the shape of her leg and what it looked like would fit, and then I tried it on her to see if it would fit. And then I pinned the second one together in the same shape as the first one, and then cut that extra off the top so it wouldn't be quite so high. And then I just sewed them together and cut the little excess off on the bottom. And here's the finished product, her little outfit. If I kind of skipped over anything, or you guys have any questions for me, just leave those in the comment section below, and I will try and answer as many as I can. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.